Hello and welcome to Books and Beyond. My name is Jimmy Bennett, I'm your host, and today we are going to stray away from the authors and creative people again and work on a little cooking show. I have my regular co-host guest.
How's it going, everybody?
Bryan Yemma. He's going to do something. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Books and Beyond is a show where we hope to help people personify their aspirations. And I will be getting back to the authors, artisans, craftsmen, other people as we go along in the months to come. But St. Patrick's Day coming up, we thought that it'd be nice to do a couple of dishes.
St. Patrick's Day.
Geared towards St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to do two things today. I'm going to let Bryan explain what he's going to do, which is great for using up your leftover.
Yes. That's the whole point.
Day. Right.
We all do the corned beef and cabbage. We all know how to do that,
Yep.
But what can we do with it after we've made it?
Right.
We always have leftovers.
Always, yeah.
And not everybody wants to just have another boiled dinner.
Yep.
Well, how can we recreate it into something a little bit fancier? Something that takes it from corned beef and transitions it into something that now is not like what you ate the night before.
Right.
And that's the whole point of it. And that's what I love about food is the creativity. You can take something you made one night and you can turn it into, even the same ingredients, turn it into almost a completely different dish. And,
Yep.
And in today's day where you're trying to eat all your leftovers and save as much money as you can.
Right, yeah, that's important.
If you can repurpose your leftovers and make it fun and exciting, that's the best way to do it.
So what are you going to do for us today?
So my plan was, we all love fried foods. We love egg rolls. How about we incorporate some corned beef into our egg rolls and we do some Reuben egg rolls?
Oh, sounds good.
So, and there's, again, just like anything we talk about, there's a million different variations of what we can do with this. I'm going to show you a couple basic things that I do. But like I said, you can go anywhere with this.
Right.
It's just like anything, a dumpling, you can put anything in a dumpling. You can put anything in an egg roll. You can put anything in an empanada. You can, You know what I mean? The options are really endless. So before I start making them, we're going to get some oil heating up here because we're going to fry these. You don't generally have to fry egg rolls now. With air fryers and all that stuff, you can make these. You could brush them with a little oil. You could put them in there, and they would come out.
Crisp and hot.
Really crispy. But some things.
Which is good because a lot of people don't have fry daddies or fry,
right.
And using a quart of grease to fry something, it's a lot of grease and a lot of waste.
It is, and you could even do these in an oven, but it really doesn't come out the way you want it to.
Right.
It's not going to have that same crunch on the outside.
Right.
It will cook. It'll be good. But again, it's just not going to be all you want. You're going to need a little of that for your salmon.
I'll need a little of that later.
So, what we're going to do here, if anyone knows what's in an actual Reuben, it is corned beef. We have Swiss cheese. Usually a Thousand Island dressing goes on that, and then some sauerkraut. I like to do a little variation just because corned beef, a lot of people have yellow mustard with their corned beef. It's very common. So we're going to make a couple with the Thousand Island dressing, and then we're going to do a couple with the yellow mustard as well, just to keep it interesting.
And if you use the yellow mustard in the thing, you can always use the Thousand Island for dipping sauce.
Exactly. You could, and
vice versa.
And vice versa.
Vice versa. So
what we have here, you can find these right in your supermarket, usually probably in the Asian aisle where you would find any of the sauces. You can just get some nice egg roll wrappers. These look like this when you peel them apart. I'll show you here. Just little pieces of dough. Square shape like this. Nice and easy. So we're going to have these are the sheets we're going to use. Now, I already shredded up a little bit of this corned beef here.
I'm taking one too. I'm doing one.
Yeah, of course. But I also brought a chunk of corned beef. Now, obviously, when we're doing the leftovers, the corned beef's going to be cold. So it's going to be formed in a more hard shape like this. So what we're going to want to do is kind of shred it up a little bit. You can get a knife, you can kind of break it up like this, and then you can kind of just take it, and if it's cooked like it should be, you can break it right up, just like that. And we're going to add that right into our the stuff that I already mixed up. Got corned beef's a little fatty. Don't be afraid. A little of this fat mixed in there. Now, obviously, you don't want to go crazy, but a little of this fat's going to melt right into this when you're cooking it and give this egg roll an awesome, awesome flavor. A really awesome flavor.
And while we're talking about the corned beef, you know, I'm going to throw a shout out to Michael McQuade's Marketplace, who's been sponsoring us here and letting us use materials and stuff to do it. And this corned beef is actually made at McQuade's. Bryan gets the brisket in. We cut the brisket. We trim it. What do you brine it for 9 days? Or?
We brine it for 9 days. We put our own salts and spices in there, and it sits for 9 days to get the nice color. But if you guys are looking for less preservative corned beef, that's more of the old school way of how you used to have it, come down to McQuade's. I mean, it's incredible, and you know, you think that it all tastes the same.
You wouldn't believe the difference between a machine cut piece of beef and a hand cut piece of beef. And like you say, there's no preservatives in there. We don't throw, you know, stuff to, you know, keep it for 10 years. You know, it's good and fresh, and it's delicious.
All right, so look at this. We got more corned beef than we needed. That's what we want. So look, it's all shredded up now. You don't need to go too crazy. You want to leave a little texture in there. We have that. Now I have my sauerkraut also, and the other element of this is our Swiss cheese. You can use a shredded Swiss, is fine, but if you have it and it's thin enough, you can roll it right into these wrappers without any issue. So let me show you how we're going to do one. Jim, then you can do one too. And
I'm going to do it along with you. I'm going to follow you.
And go right along at this here. Let me put this here. I got a little egg wash for us. This is a very important part of this process. So before I do anything, we are going to take the wrapper. We are going to egg wash the top 3 corners. So we take this, we take our egg, we brush the 3 corners. The bottom one you don't have to brush right there. So we've done that. There you go. You can brush your side over there. Now I take my cheese. Like I said, we can take this cheese, we can lay it right down, right on the center of that. It's nice thin. If it's too thick, it won't roll well. So if it is too thick and they cut it too thick for you, just break it up. You can mix it right into your meat. That's not going to be a problem either way. So now I'm going to take my corned beef here, and I'm going to spread that right in the middle down here like this. Okay? And I'm going to take my sauerkraut as well. You can do this a couple different ways. I wanted to show you the steps. If you wanted to take all your corned beef, put it into a bowl, mix your sauerkraut right into it to eliminate some of these processes, definitely do that. I wanted to break it down so you guys could see every step, but you could easily mix these two, so you're just scooping one thing into this and just rolling it out. So now that we got our filling in, to do this correctly, you bring the bottom of this first.
You want mustard or anything in there?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yep. So, again, I'm going to do the mustard one, and Jim is going to do the Thousand Island. So the last part of this is we're going to squirt a little of our yellow mustard right into that. Again, now I'm going to roll it. Thank you for catching that. Get a little excited sometimes.
Yep.
All right, we're going to roll it, and we're going to tuck it, and we're going to kind of pull it tight. And after you fold it over once, you take your corners, and you fold those in. Take these corners, and you fold that in as well. And then you roll it in. Now that egg is going to keep everything sealed. So you have your next egg roll like that. So we're going to make up a couple of these right now, and then we're going to fry it off. Should be nice and tight. You're not going to see any openings on it. If you do have a little opening, you can easily kind of open it right back up like this. I mean, it allows for some mistakes. You can open it right back up. You can pull it a little tighter.
Oh, nice and tight.
Yes.
Look at that.
Oh, that's beauty. But don't be afraid. You know what I mean? You guys can play with it a little bit, and it's not going to affect anything.
And remember, it's legal to roll in Connecticut now.
All right, our oil is getting hot. Our oil is getting hot. I'm going to brush one more here. We can get 4 going. You're going to do 2 with Thousand Island. I'm going to do 2 with the mustard.
All right.
And here you go. I got to put a little on there for you. All right, so we're going to go cheese. Again, let me move these 2 that I've done already. We're going to go cheese. We are going to go corned beef. Now, like I was saying, you want to get creative. You want to do steak and cheese. You want to do a pulled pork. You want to do some kind of, shredded chicken, a buffalo chicken, a barbecue chicken. The options are really, really endless. You want to do like a spinach and feta. Just wherever your mind can take you with this, you can go. And that's the great thing about these egg rolls or making dumplings or anything like this. You can just get so creative with it. And it's the great thing, too, is it's a finger food. What do you need?
A little sauerkraut.
Oh, the kraut. There you go. I'm going to do the mustard again. And then, too, you don't have to, if I want to, again, if you eat one and you say, oh, my God, I want a little bit more cheese, don't be afraid to take another slice. Everyone likes them a little different. If you want yours a little cheesier, put another slice of cheese on the top of that. It might be a little bit bigger, but as long as it closes, we're going to bring the bottom over the top. We're going to roll up one time here. We're going to fold.
Yep.
We're going to fold in, fold it in, and then we're going to roll it right over, and it seals it together. So now this one, like I said, it's a little thicker than this one. We got a little extra cheese in this. Got a little extra cheese in that. Jim, this oil is looking nice and hot.
Well, there you go. There's another one.
Well, actually, it looks a little hot. We're going to shut it off for 1 second when we drop these in. It will cool off.
Go on back to the leftover leftover corned beef and cabbage the whole dinner. I mean, you can really, right? You can chop up the carrots, the potatoes, the cabbage, all that, and put it in there. And the other thing that's kind of neat about this is you can get a package of egg rolls like that, roll them up, and you can freeze them. And then you just take them out.
Right. So now we're dropping these in. And really, if you're at your house, you should have a thermometer and you should be temping your oil. I probably let this one get a little hot. And if you're dropping them in at your house, please don't do what I just did. Use the tongs. I'm a professional. I do this all the time. Doesn't mean I should do that like that. But use tongs to go in. If you're going into hot oil, you don't want to burn yourself. So just be extra careful.
Wow, look at that.
So these are frying up right now.
And as you pointed out earlier, too, if you brush these with oil and put them in a air fryer, they'll come out just as crisp and tasty as deep frying them in oil.
Exactly. And as you can see, if you can look at this, they're already getting that nice golden brown color on them. Again, my oil is probably just a little too hot because I didn't bring my thermometer with me. But if you want to get it between 300 and 350, and they should take about, I'd say, 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
For everything to be hot, everything to be cooked through.
Because everything's cooked in there anyways. I mean, it's not like you don't have raw product in there.
The only thing that's raw is the egg wash that you put on, but that's on the outer side. That's going to cook instantly.
Which I guess we should point out, if you're going to do fish or chicken or anything, you cook it first.
Yes.
Always cook it first because you'll burn the egg roll long before the inside will be cooked.
Exactly.
Which you don't want.
All right, so we're going to pull this one out. We're going to start setting these right here like this. There's one. I'll let that guy go a little bit longer. That was the thick one that we made. Pull this one out.
Shall we go for a couple more?
We can do a couple more if you want.
Yeah, why not?
And the other important thing is you do have to be careful because if your oil is too hot, there is a chance that your dough is done because the oil's so hot where you didn't where your insides, like I said, it's all cooked, but your inside won't be hot. Because you want to pull them when they're a nice golden brown. You don't want them to be too dark. So that's why it's important to have your oil set right around 300 degrees, 300 to 350. We're going to bang out one more of these, get it cooking here, get the oil to a more controlled temperature for us here.
Oh, this is beautiful, Bryan. Beautiful.
And usually before every show, I try making it to get a little idea before I come on the show and do it. So I've already ate a couple of these, Jim,
Yeah.
and they are just as good as they look. They are just as good as they look. So we're going to do that. We're going to hit it with that one more time. I'm going to use up the rest of this kraut right here.
As I say, you see I'm going corner to corner. And pull back. Pull back. You want it nice and tight. Again, flip over the ends. And then roll it up.
And you're good to go. All right. So now we're going to drop these two in here. Let's get these two going. Come on, stay with me here.
Nope.
Hello. We're okay. All right. So those are our last two going. What else we got on the menu today?
All right. Now for the second thing is, we were talking about it. The thing about St. Patrick's Day is corned beef and cabbage, corned beef and cabbage. Well, some people just don't like corned beef and cabbage.
Yes.
And that's all right, or they don't want to eat the red meat or whatever. So I thought that I would make, this is a little Irish glazed salmon steak. Now, I got these beautiful salmon steaks from Dan at McQuade's in the seafood department. They're a nice slice, nice and thick. And I've seasoned them with a little bit of salt and pepper. So what I'm going to do is get my pan on. All right. And I'm going to put a little oil in it. This is a very simple dish, but it's delicious. And of course, it wouldn't be Irish without a little Jameson.
I'm going to cut one of these in half so they
Yep.
can see what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'll give you the camera a little view. So as you
Oh, it
can
looks
see,
good in there.
What the inside of that looks like. It's got everything right in there.
Like you
The
say, a
cheese.
little dipping sauce and cheese melted good.
So what, you brush those salmon with a little bit of whiskey?
Yep, a little bit of whiskey on it. Now, we have a glaze for this too, which really what makes it. And the glaze is basically honey, a little orange marmalade, and Jameson's again. So, the Jameson's, the whiskey, salmon's kind of a sweet fish and it's dense. It's got a unique flavor, but the whiskey kind of brings out, I don't know, gives it a tang, gives it a bump. And the alcohol pretty much cooks out.
Yeah, the alcohol's going to cook out.
It's going to cook out anyway, so it's not like you don't have to worry about serving it to your kids or something. All right, we'll cut a little bit of lemon up so I can squeeze a little lemon on there afterwards. Now, could I have those tongs?
Of course. There you go.
I think this started to get hot. Now I'm going to put a little lemon zest on them. Oh, there we go. Got the sizzle. All right. Oh. Oh, it's got a nice sizzle to it. Look at that.
That's the noise you want to hear if you're searing a piece of fish, meat. You want to hear that nice sizzle. If you're not hearing that noise, the oil's not hot enough to get you a nice sear that you want. And that goes with scallops, pretty much anything that you want to sear. And what he did there, he took a little lemon zest and hit it in the oil. But even if you took, your hands were just a little more.
A little wet, yeah, a little drop of water.
The tiniest drop of water. If that starts sizzling, then you know your oil's pretty much there. Obviously, it's tough to get a temperature of oil when it's just a thin layer across the bottom. So that's a good way to determine it. Let's pull these last two out. Look at these. We're gonna put that one back here. Now these ones came out a lot better because the color looks as good, but my oil was more controlled this time.
Right.
So they got to cook for that extra minute. That's just gonna ensure now everything is gonna be nice and hot for the person that's eating it. The other ones I did, they're perfect, but again, they're gonna be warm when we want our food hot. You know, hot food is the way to go. We don't wanna go to a restaurant and eat warm food. We want hot food.
The salmon, it depends on your taste. Some people like their salmon cooked straight all the way through.
Yes.
Some people like it really cooked, and some people like it a little on the rare side or a little toward the medium side. I tend to cook fish just a little under because I think the flavor's better, the texture's better, and that's kind of thing. You can probably do this with sole too, or cod, or something like that. As far as the mix goes, I'd say maybe, what do you think, like 4 ounces of marmalade, an ounce of honey?
Yeah, yep.
4 ounces of marmalade, an ounce of honey, and Jameson to taste. I mean, it depends on how much you like your Jamesons.
I mean, probably a half an ounce to a shot.
A shot,
half
yeah.
a shot to a shot of whiskey in there. Mix that all together. And then, you know, you want to use a little salt, pepper. You want to, you know, you season the fish with a little salt and pepper. And then also in that mixture, there's a little thyme into that mixture. We actually put everything into the mixture just to make it easier. So right now that has salt, pepper, thyme. It has everything in there right now. So now you can see, you can't see, but that pan, you can see that crust on that salmon that's forming there from that nice hot oil. That sizzle is why it has that nice sear like that. And that's why it's so important.
We'll kick that back a little bit. You know, that is the truth about, like I said, like why I wanted to do a fish dish or a salmon or something, because a lot of people, you know, just, ooh, corned beef, or ooh, cabbage, I hate cabbage, or, you know, I hate boiled potatoes, which is another thing I wanted to point out. You know, there's a lot of variations on corned beef and cabbage. Like, a lot of people boil their corned beef and they put the cabbage in the water and they put the potatoes and carrots in the water, or cook them separately in water, boil it. And that is a traditional way to do it. But you know, you could take a piece of corned beef and put it in your oven and roast it.
Oh, yeah.
And unbelievable, that fat gets that nice glaze on it, and,
and
it melts into the meat.
A little texture on the outside from it, just.
And one of the favorite things we do at the restaurant, you know, once in a while when we've chopped up cabbage, is we caramelize it.
Yeah.
Instead of boiling it, we put it in a hot pan with oil and sprinkle it with a little sugar, salt, and pepper, and we just keep working it until it's brown. And it gets dark brown, you know, gets really cooked nice. And believe me, you think you don't like cabbage, when you try this, you're going to be like, wow. And the same thing with the potatoes. You don't have to boil the potatoes. You can roast the potatoes. You know,
change it up.
Yeah,
you know?
Change it up. Make it just because.
Food's supposed to be fun.
Right.
And that's the whole point.
And it doesn't have to be the same one that you saw, you know, that grandma made and your mom made, or, you know, they're putting out at the VFW. You can make it your own.
And then also, what I meant to touch on before when I was making these is, you know, this is just one option. With my leftover corned beef, I'll make myself a corned beef, egg, and cheese sandwich on an English muffin in the morning for breakfast.
Right.
I'll chop some of it up and make an omelet. I'll take it and make it into a corned beef hash. You can make a corned beef hash and then stuff it into a rolled cabbage leaf. You could just go anywhere with this. The options are really, really. You can just go so many places with it.
Possibilities are endless.
Right. You can make just a Reuben sandwich.
And I'm doing the salmon in the pan because, you know, I just happen to like sauteing it like that, getting a crust. But you can pretty much put the glaze on it and put it in the oven just as easy. You know, it's all how much you want to put into it. Now, it's getting really close to the end here. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glaze on it, because I want it to sort of caramelize on the salmon.
Now, like he said, you could sear this just like he had it seared on both sides. Put the glaze on top of the fish, and then finish it in your oven too. and
Yep.
that's perfectly fine.
Yep.
Some people like doing that. It could be a little less messy sometimes when you're cooking with this glaze. There's a lot of sugars involved, and if you don't know, it's easy. It's more controlled in an oven. So,
Right.
with that being said, Jimmy's a professional.
And I got to say too, it's easier to saute and sear things on a pan when you have a gas stove or you're using gas.
Yes.
It is a lot. It really is a lot harder with an electric oven. It's harder to get that temperature that you want.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can play with the dial all day, but the elements don't work like flame does. You know. So there we have the salmon that we've. And then we're going to put a little glaze over it, and we're just going to shake just a little bit of lemon zest on there for color.
And then a little of this fresh
Little
parsley. A little parsley to end it off right here. And you kind of just take that, and that's what you got going there.
And now look at that. Huh? Don't matter if you're Irish or Polish, that's a good dish right
Remember,
there.
you eat with your eyes first.
Yep.
Anything that looks good, mentally you're already thinking it's going to taste
Yep.
better. And that's the whole thing. So,
Well, we hope we've given you a few ideas today. We hope you'll get out there and do it yourself. You know, really try hard. Like you said, use your imagination, and believe me, you can come up with a lot of different things. Hey, once in a while, maybe it doesn't come out quite right, but you know what? You just try again, okay? Well, I want to thank you very much again, Bryan. It was great. And a big shout out to McQuade's for...
yeah, and don't forget, our own corned beefs,
Yep.
they're something else. They are a cut above the rest. Like if you have not tried anything other than the normal brands, give it a shot, because you might find that it's something completely different.
You're looking at the guys that actually process it and make it, right? So, I mean, that's the way to go. All right, well, that's enough for today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. Be safe. See you next time.
Thank you.